a fairly easy variation mountain climber for this exercise. So you can see I'm using the bench to create some elevation and to give me some assistance with it. Make sure your knees are coming all the way through, straight down the middle, nice and light on your toes for this one. Your turn to try it. Using the tip of the bench for some triceps dips for this exercise. Now you can see I'm doing it with straight legs so that I can't cheat, and you've just got to make sure that your butt stays really close to your hand. We don't want to cause any excess pressure in the rotator cuffs. Your turn to try this one. Modified burpee for this one. So you can see I'm using the bench, so it's going to make the push-up a little bit easier. This is a great version of doing burpees for beginners in particular, and it's a great warm-up exercise as well. So getting into that push-up and then jumping back, and you can see I'm not jumping up at the end either, so I'm just trying to keep the joint impact off my knees when I do this exercise. Your turn to try it. Bench squat or bench get up, if you like, for this exercise. So you can see I'm starting with feet parallel, shoulder width, and I'm lifting right up, standing, and dropping back down into that squat, but I'm sitting on the bench as I do it. And then all I'm doing is just lifting straight back up. So it's actually giving you a moment's rest when you're seated on the bench. Your turn to try this one. for this exercise, we're going to work some shoulder presses, but we're going to do them unilateral. We're going to do them one side at a time. So you can see that I'm pressing with my right arm while the left arm is remaining static. And when we finish the set, we're going to switch it up and work the other side. Now, make sure there's no rotation of the wrists and keep your knees slightly bent in order to protect your back. And let's go from there. Your turn. Unilateral front delts raise for this exercise. So you can see that I'm using my left side to hold that front delts position isometric, and then I'm working the reps using my right side. So we're going to hit one set with the right, and then we're going to switch it up and do the left as well. Now make sure that your knees are slightly bent and you've got a neutral spine in order to protect your back. Your turn to try this one. dropping down into an isometric squat, and you're adding some arms extensions into this. So this is really going to test your core, and it's going to test your arm strength as well. So you want to make sure that you're keeping an upright upper body for this one. And arms are nicely extended, soft, straight, right in front of you. And as far as your legs are concerned, you want to make sure that you've got parallel feet at shoulder width and your knees are right on top of your feet. Your turn to try this one. Working some bent over unilateral T-rows for this exercise, but you can see that I've kept the isometric side nice and tight by my ribs, so I'm getting that really good lats and biceps contraction and holding it on one side, and then really focusing on pulling my elbows out and hitting the T-rows on the other side. We're going to do one side and then switch it up and do the other side as well. Your turn. This exercise is a really difficult variation of some obliques tilts. So you can see what I've done is I've brought my hands over into the start of that shoulder press position, and I'm actually holding it isometric there. So it's going to manipulate the weight, and it's actually going to make the obliques tilts quite difficult. Now just make sure that your feet are wide enough apart to give you a sturdy stance and to help protect your back as well. Your turn to try this one. dumbbell Zercher squat for this exercise. So I'm starting with my feet parallel at shoulder width, and you can see that I'm holding the dumbbell in that Zercher hold the same way as you would if it was a barbell. I'm going to drop down and make sure my elbows get to my quadricep, and then I'm going to lift straight back up. Make sure you sustain a neutral spine and controlled movement. Your turn to try this one. Isometric leg extensions using the bench for this one. So you can see that I'm holding the dumbbell between my feet and then lifting right up until your knees are nice and straight, and really focus on tensing those quadriceps. Lean back for support and just hold your position for the next 45 seconds. Your turn to try this one. frog legs glutes bridge for this exercise. So starting with your feet together and your knees apart, we're going to lift right up into a glutes bridge as high as you can. So we want to try and hit that body triangle, and then return your butt all the way back down to the floor and lift again. Make sure you're keeping your knees as wide as you can throughout the entire lift. Your turn to try this one. With a front hand position, we're going to go into some parallel legs at shoulder width, and we're just going to work some calves raises from here. So just making sure that you're keeping a nice neutral spine, keeping the knees slightly bent to protect your back, and just pushing all the way up as far as the calves raise is concerned, and flattening back down as well. Your turn to try this one. This exercise is a chest press that starts from a neutral hand position with your elbows tucked in, and on the way up it rotates into what looks like a regular chest press. Now make sure your back is pinned right up against the bench when you do this, and it's a vertical push up. Your turn to try it. Unilateral skull crushes for this exercise. So very important to start off with that neutral hand position, just drawing a pair of parallel lines with your arms, and then we're going to hit the skull crushes on one side, making sure you're minimizing any movement in your elbow, and then we're going to hit the other side as well. Then we're going to finish off by doing a bilateral set, so doing both sides at the same time. Your turn to try it. nice difficult variation of some biceps curls. So you can see that I'm holding one side isometric in that contracted position, and I'm just working on the other side. So just the right arm doing all the repetitions. At the end of the set, I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to hold isometric with my right side and get the left to do the reps. Your turn to try this one. Working some circular shrugs, starting with one side to begin with, and then what we'll do is we'll switch it up and do the opposite side, and then we're going to finish up by doing both sides. So bilateral movement at the end of it. Your turn to try it.
done for finishing your workout, guys. Please take a few minutes to stretch and cool your body down now.
If you enjoyed this workout segment, please assist us by liking and sharing. Remember to subscribe for your daily workout fix.